So you mentioned the Ben Simmons situation. From your perspective, when you look at that, how's this thing going to play out? Do the Sixers just need to trade them, cut their losses, or can they work it out? And I want to ask you the same thing. Can they figure it out?
So what's the funniest? I have a relationship with Ben Simmons now.
Yeah.
And, Elton Brand and them. So I'm in the middle on both sides. And, I'm a player. So, when it comes to the player part, I say this. I said, Ben is quiet. You know what I mean? Ben just wants to hoop. Ben works out every day, 2-3 times a day. Like, I watch him work out.
Right.
He can actually shoot the ball. He has great form and everything. So you sit there and say, why aren't you shooting?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as a player, it's like, well, is it this? He's not saying the system, but I know it's the system. Mm-hmm. It's the system itself. You got to put someone in the situations to be great. So I'm sitting here like, well, how come we don't put him in? Why you don't put him in pick and rolls at the elbow? If everyone's gonna sag, set the pick and roll right there. People don't understand. John Stockton didn't shoot. He didn't shoot. He set the pick and roll right there at the free throw line. Everybody's like, how do you get the free throw line? Because everybody's backing up.
Yep.
They set the little pick and roll. If he can shoot a 15-footer,
yep.
If not, you hit Karl Malone. So I said, there's plenty of situations where you can make him feel great. You can drop him. You can put him at the elbow. You can play him how he wants to be played. But when you come out, I think, let's just say it, Doc messed up. When, he said, I don't think he's a winning guard. You got, as a player who, comes in there and we play hard, we do this, and you're going to say, you don't think you can win a championship with me, right? You don't think you can win a championship with me? All right, cool. Right. So, all right, I'm just going to train, and y'all going to trade me, and y'all do all this, and you don't trade me. Like, when I come back into this locker room, how this going to work? Yeah. Because, I'm speaking to, what do y'all expect when Ben comes here? Like, y'all just going to get there, like, oh, yeah, you know what you said? Never mind. What's happening? Right. Like, y'all think that's really going to happen to him? That's like going back to jail. Like, that's like going back to jail. Like, the city don't want him. The city's already against him. The players looking at him sideways. So what do you think is going to actually happen? What is the benefit? That he's going to average 20, 10, and 10, and y'all going to get some trade? Because I'm sure if he's averaging 20, 10, and 10, you're not going to want to trade him. At that point, it's like, at this point, you have to trade him, right? You have to trade him. You're only going to get 50% because everybody knows you got to trade him. Yep. So it's like, so what is the benefit of him? Like, when he's actually going back, what do you get out of it?
Yeah, and it's a tough situation because from the business perspective, Morey has to get what he can for Ben. You can't allow that prized possession to get away from you without getting some kind of value. You're not going to get equal value unless you get Dame Lillard. Okay, unless you get that.
But I evaluate it like this. I was always taught when you look at game, look at positions, right?
Right.
So I have a 6'10" player that can play 9 positions. Meaning he can play all 5 on defense, 4 on offense, point, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if I want to trade him just for a straight-up guard.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how I was like, I have a 9-position player, which is rare. How am I I might get a better score, but I lose everything else. Mm-hmm. I lose everything else, and I don't know if that's a real value of work.
But on you got to think about it too from a perception perspective and what they can get. Mm-hmm. It's a win.
Yes. Rather
than having a trade for, and this is not anything on CJ. CJ is some draft picks. That, right there. No, seriously, and how good CJ is. But a standalone, it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So from the organization perspective, they still got time until February to the trade deadline to figure this thing out. From Ben's perspective, I just don't listen, Rich Paul, I know he laid the groundwork so Ben can understand what you gain and what you lose by doing this. Once you take that stance and you draw the line in the sand, that's it, okay? Going back in, I'm trying, and again, I don't know the conversations. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on why he chose. And I've heard the Sixers thought that he would be coming back to the facility later this week. He came back early. What the mindset is, because no matter what, at the end of the day, it's always been some contention in the locker room between Joel and Ben from day one. It's always been there. Because the styles kind of clash. So they've been dealing with this for quite some time. This is not a new thing. It's just now that it's expanded a lot more because of what happened last year in the playoffs. how they coordinate that locker room is important because in the East right now, bro, the Charlottes, the Chicagos, those Indiana, those are not easy wins now. So you can't start off bad if you're Philly, if you want to be in the top 6 so you avoid the playoff. So you know, now the pressure is on. If they start to win without Ben, it's really not that much pressure. But if they start to lose without him and start to fall further down the ladder of the Eastern Conference, it's more pressure on them to make a deal. So we got to see how this thing is going to play out.
What's so funny is, as a player, you know that was my conversation.
Right.
You know, players gonna always kind of hint like, what would you do, right? And you know, like, listen, I don't know what I do because I'm not in your situation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? All I can say is this: if we're playing chess, you don't really have to move your piece right now. You know, it's not necessarily your move; it's theirs, because their first 5 games they should go at least 4-1. Their toughest matchup is, you know, the Nets. If they don't go 4-1, I mean, they look bad. You know, not necessarily you. You know, you're gonna, like, if they win without you, it's gonna be, oh, we don't need Ben, blah, blah, blah. If they lose, it becomes, oh, we need to get something for him now. So it's basically whoever's willing to hold out. But at the end of the day, do you really want to just let them take your money for no reason?
See, and
that's what they're playing on.
Exactly. And here is the dilemma. Are you willing, for what you stand on, to sacrifice not getting paid? At the end of the day, forget everything else. You can say all of what your beliefs are, blah, 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 blah. End of the day, it's going to come down to, are you willing not to get paid? To stand on what your principles are. Like, and I go back to it. It sounds great before it happens. But that 8.3 that he was supposed to get, he ain't getting it. The money that he's going to get per game right now for missing out, he's not getting it. So how long are you willing to deal with that, and how comfortable you are, even though you got money in the bank? But that's money you're not getting, and you're not getting it back. And that's the dilemma, that until you actually go through it and are in that situation and have to make that decision. Now, it comes back to this too. If Ben comes back, kind of like Kyrie, the narrative is, oh, you came back for the money. Wiggins, well, you know, I heard what you said, bro, but you ain't want to lose that $17 million either.
Yeah, it's. I mean, listen.
17 mil?
What I'm saying is playing in a place that you don't want to play. I don't see no benefit, because his value's not going to go up. Nobody's gonna be like, you know what? I'm seeing Ben Simmons today and he's looking great. Let me give you the house. No, you're gonna get pennies on dollars. You're gonna get 50% at best for him. So there's no play that he's gonna be doing that his value's gonna go up. So at this point, it's, do you go there, pick your check up, calf injury, ankle injury. You can't play. I'm hurt. You can't find him.
Okay, but would you? Okay, and again, here's
I'm hurt.
Now, but Ben is a different cat in regards to mentality, okay, and how public perception may affect him. You a different dude, I'm a different dude. It's a different way we may approach it. Like, hey, bro, I've been in a situation where I lost money, and I ain't care, because my principle to me was more important. You know, I was going from Houston to New Orleans, and I was like, man, I ain't going. Like, what do you mean you're not going? I said, no, I ain't going to New Orleans. I ain't had no leverage. I ain't had no leverage at all. And Jeff, I'm on the phone. They're like, you mean? I said, bro, Byron Scott, the GM, called me, happy to have you in New Orleans. I said, no, you're not. I said, I'm not coming. They said, what do you mean? I said, listen, bro, I'm 33. I'm not about to start all over. I don't want to do that. Well, we gonna find you. I was like, all right, but I'm not coming. So they find me until I got to Phoenix. But my experience is who I am. I'm willing to deal with that. Ben may not be able to deal with that mentally.